Welcome to the Real in Real Estate Podcast, your go-to show for real estate success. Whether you're an agent aiming to crush it or a buyer or seller wanting the inside scoop, we're here to deliver expert advice, insider tips, and the real talk you need. Each episode, we chat with top industry pros to give you the facts, strategies, and inspiration you need to thrive in this business. Let's dive in and make big moves together. Hi, welcome back to the Real in Real Estate, where we talk about the facts with the experts to get it straight from the horse's mouth. And today we have an exceptional guest, someone I've been trying to get on for months, but he is so busy. He has an excellent real estate career, and he's even been so wonderful that he's now one of the managers at one of the top firms in our city. So I would like to welcome Paul Silverman. Thank you so much for taking the time to get together with us.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be here. And thank you for just like the podcast in general. I mean, anything we can do to help build and strengthen our industry. And thank you for your outside things you've done to help kind of make our industry and agents better day by day. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Education is very important to me, and I have spent a lot of time getting educated, and I feel it's important to let everyone hear the facts from the experts. It's not me sitting here talking about everything. I actually have the experts on it. You're definitely an expert. And I wanted to talk a little bit about today about getting started in the industry, getting started in real estate. If you've already started and you feel you're not exactly where you want to be, or you're not sure how to get there, I mean, you're the perfect person. You were in my book. You're one of the wonderful people that was in my book.
Thank you.
Top Producer Steps to Success. And I love what you told me in the book. So give us a little background. How long have you been in the business? When did you get started? How did you get started? Let's just get into it.
Yeah. So I'm one of the rare people in this business that never had a past career, and I think it's so good that people bring their experiences and their knowledge and their wisdom from their past. I have no past career. Literally, my first round of interviews out of college was with a home builder. I was with that industry, let's say, until 2010. I got licensed in 2000 and then made the jump in 2010 from builder to realtor. And yeah, so since I graduated college in 95, I've never had another career other than real estate. A couple different capacities, home building, home sales, home marketing, a little diverse, but I've never done anything post-college that didn't have something to do with real estate.
Wow, that makes you even more knowledgeable. And you've been
Or crazy.
in more than one position. Well, this business can be crazy, that's for sure. I was
Yeah.
speaking to someone the other day, and she said, I had a friend that had just retired out of real estate and was trying to talk me into getting into real estate. And I'm sorry, she was trying to talk her friend into letting her get into real estate. And a friend said, I've been in this for years and it's really hard work. It is a full-time job. It is not what you see on HGTV where you show three houses and they buy one.
Right.
It's a full-time job. So I know that you've been very busy all those years in every capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, education is key and kind of your why. We talk about why a lot in ninja selling, but kind of your why and why you want to do this. Because yeah, if you think it's going to be like HGTV, yeah, where you're going out and showing three $10 million homes and making it like, no, it just doesn't work like that. And to me, you know, I, sometimes in life, it's those organic interactions that you have that are so much more valuable. So long story short, there was a misunderstanding years ago between my then wife and I about who was paying the gas bill, the smallest bill we have, right?
Yeah.
And long story short, during a holiday, it ended up getting cut off. And I go outside to meet the get person from the gas company, and he sees my for sale signs in the garage. And he's like, "You're a realtor?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Why do you do it?" And I was like, "It's the passion of working with the people." And, the first time buyer, they're handing them their first set of keys and they're crying. And it's just like that whole service aspect of it. And he said, "Yeah, I'm licensed too." And I was like, really? How do you, because I'm thinking like, how do you work for the gas company, like lighting, you know, water heaters and turning gas back on
Yeah.
and, be a realtor. I mean, we all, I mean, there are people that kind of ease into it. And I was like, well, why do you do it? And he said, for the money. And I thought that could be why I'm doing it full time and you're not, because you don't have the passion for it. And,
Right.
you can do it for the money, but I've seen those people burn out because it's kind of like anything you do in life, there needs to be some ownership and some why and some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, and this is an industry, well, it's a service industry. It's also sales, but I really feel that it's more service than anything because if you're not servicing your clients, you're not going to be successful. And if you're not taking the career seriously and putting everything you have into it, you're not going to be successful. I hear so many people, if I'm talking to someone that's trying to get licensed and start their career, and they want to know what their split is and how many leads you're going to give them. To me, that just says you're really not willing to work for it and
Right.
you don't really understand what our industry is. Um, and I assume you agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, what is you've got to get your foundation first, right? Where are you going to get business from? Who you're going to align yourself with as far as brokerage and training and support, and then go launch yourself. But yeah, I think too many people just get their license and, the whole, we'll build it and they will come, and it doesn't quite work. I mean, it takes enough hard work to get off the ground with the desire and the passion, much less just waiting for that first paycheck.
Right. I love the article in my book. Well, I love my book, but the article that you helped me write, that you contributed to, well, it's your article. Anyway, you said it doesn't matter the price of the home. You're there to help the client. You're there to service the client. And you mentioned your first sale was $130,000. Actually, my first sale was $80,000. It was a condo townhome, but $130,000 that you helped someone with, and they were so impressed that it actually led to over $3 million worth of
Yeah,
sales down the road. With friends and family and coworkers, I think you ended up selling to his or her boss, if I remember correctly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's just what you can get just by treating others well, treating with kindness that you would, want to be treated or a family member would be treated. One of my best, as a parent, we always try to set good examples for our children. And so one day I remember I had my daughter with me. I think she was probably about 10. So back in the days where I had to, bribe her with ice cream to go with me places, it was just a lot
I
cheaper
understand.
than now it's upgraded to Lululemon. But anyway, we showed $1.5 million house and I think a $1,500 a month lease, different clients. And I
Right.
said to her, I said, what'd you notice different about how I treated those people? She goes, what do you mean? I'm like, well, how did I treat them different? Because $1.5 million versus, she goes, I, I don't know. You didn't treat them different. I'm like, that's my point. You treat
Mhm.
everybody the same.
Exactly. And when I first started, there were agents in the company that just didn't want to deal with leases at all. And so I'm like, okay, I'll take it. I did several leases, and those actually ended up turning into sales because after they were finished leasing, I got a sale. So, I mean, I'm here to help everybody or anybody that I can actually help. And I agree with you. First time home buyers, I think, are the most fun to work with because they are so excited and I mean, this is their first major investment. 99% of the time, it's their first major investment. And it's wonderful to see the smile on their face. And I can't tell you how many close friends I've made out of this that were strangers before. And we just worked together. They loved working with me. I love working with them. And now we go to happy hour together or we go to dinner
Yeah.
together. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, yeah, it's just building those referral streams for life. And they will, again, they will just come out of nowhere. I mean, I was sitting taking property call one day and some people called up, sold them a $650,000 home, then sold their parents. They brought their grandmother and like, and it keeps going and going because now the parents are moving. So I've, referred them to one of our agents. So it's just doing the right thing. But I think, I think it's a mindset. And I think what you hit on originally was education. Education and continuous education. Forget the 18 hours at Trek makes us get. I mean, it's valuable, don't get me wrong, but always be educated.
You need
There's,
more.
I like seeing anybody in the classes we teach, but it's always fun seeing the newer agents that have that aspiration to become a top producer. But I tell you, the people I really appreciate are the top producers that could easily say, you know what, I got this down. I don't, who's going to teach me
Mm.
when they come to my class because they're continuously strengthening their skills. And then, with what we have in technology and AI and stuff like that, it's even the more it's out there, the easier it is to fall behind.
Oh, absolutely, because it changes all the time. And now, time for a short break.
Hi, I'm Natalie Hartman, and I'm the owner and principal designer of Morph Home Staging and Design. At Morph, we specialize in vacant and occupied home staging, interior design, Airbnb and renovation design, as well as furniture rental for short and long-term rentals, which includes residential properties, assisted living communities, and model homes. For further information on these services that we offer, visit our website at Morph, and that's MORPHE, Home Staging and Design, or you can call us at 281-826-6744. We look forward to transforming your space.
Yeah.
It changes all the time. Well, what advice would you give someone starting in the industry or someone that maybe has been in the industry a little while and just not where they want to be?
hmm I would say, take a hard look at who you're surrounding yourself with. You know, I mean, first look at like what are your systems, what are your processes for, reaching out to your sphere, growing your sphere of influence. So you have those referral sources. What are you doing to court them? Are you doing, anything from real estate reviews, as we call a ninja, or providing, comps to help fight their tax? Like, what are you doing to really help generate your business? That's one. Because I will tell you, one of the hardest things I ever had was an agent that her business wasn't where she wanted it to be. And she came in, she said, well, I just moved here 6 months ago from Phoenix. And I said, okay, do you have family and friends, or were you originally from? No, this is actually the first time I've ever been to Houston was when I moved here. So you're kind of like, everybody builds up their sphere of influence and builds their database. But when you're starting with kind of a net zero, other than maybe, outgoing referral potentials,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. It's really hard. So, that business planning is such a key part of what we do. And I think agents kind of overlook it, especially when they're busy. But, my father-in-law, who's since passed away, had a great suggestion. He was an attorney, not a realtor. And he said, there's one class they never teach in law school. And I think it's a class they need to teach in real estate school. And that's running a small business, because you are running
Yes.
your own small business. So, I think you have to
Yes.
look at where's your business coming from? Do you have a plan? And then what kind of brokerage are you going to align yourself with that can provide the level of support that you need at your point in your career? And that answer might change over time. There are some people
Yes.
that one brokerage their entire career. It's not uncommon for, to kind of, I don't say bounce around, but try a couple before you really fit. I always say when I'm interviewing agents that, finding a brokerage is kind of like dating, right? There's somebody for everyone. You just have to go out there and find it.
Right. I was interviewing a someone that was about to get licensed, and I said, "What are you looking for in a brokerage?" And they had no idea. So
Yeah.
that's certainly key, and that does mean you should probably interview more than one brokerage. I want to go back to something you said about the person that just came to Houston for the first time. I had been in Houston a while, but when I first started in real estate, I remember getting my desk, and that's when we all had a desk, sitting down at the desk and going, "Oh my God, what do I do now? I've got my license. What do I do?" So I started interviewing the top producers in the office, which is kind of how I got started, and that's the purpose of this book I wrote. But one of them, Tim's, told me that that happened to him. He moved to Houston. He knew no one. He started going to the same breakfast place every morning, And
Yeah.
eventually people go, well, I see you here all the time. What do you do? Blah, blah. And he was able to build a business just from doing that. So what I took from
Yeah.
that was I go to Starbucks every morning and I still do that. I just met someone yesterday that probably wants to buy a house. But there are so many different ways to get started and talk to people, ask questions. The first thing I did to accomplish my SAE hours, which what you have to have the first 2 years, was to get the GRI. It got me a
Mm.
designation, and I tell you, that was some of the best training I'd ever had because it really went into depth what we skimmed over in real estate school.
Yeah. I mean,
So
the
that
thing,
gave me confidence.
yeah, the thing, like you said about Starbucks, especially if you can wear some of your company swag, is
Yeah.
that we are so blessed in this business that like we're in an industry that people want to talk about. I always say this in my training. I had a client, nicest guy in the world. His job is he literally designs sewer plans. Okay.
Okay.
Nobody's hitting him up at the Christmas party asking him how work's going and tell me a bit like, no. But we have the
Yes.
advantage of if the market's slow, people want to know. If it's hot, people want to know. If rates are up, people want to know. Rates are down. Like the conversation just comes to us. And so, yeah, being able to generate your own business, we had a guy that came from another industry, aligned with one of our top producers to do her open houses. He was our highest level top producer, not our number one in the company, but of the different levels, his first
Yeah.
full year because he was doing the
Wow.
open houses and he would also take his dog to like very affluent areas, which his dogs gathered it, created attention. And he would like take his dog out for a walk and come out with a listing appointment. There's somebody else kind of in our market that he told me one time when he first started out, and I don't know, I would suggest this because this might cause burnout, but he did two open houses every Saturday and Sunday for 2 years. And it was hard
Yeah.
work and he put it in there, but he met the people and got the business.
And then you have to keep those people in your sphere because if you are a one and done type attitude, you're not going to last very long in this industry.
And the and the advice I would give them is there is a saying in our business that is BS, it's incomplete, and no one ever needs to use it. And that is people work with people they know, like, and trust. I want to throw that in the trash can because it's missing something very key, and that is remember. It doesn't matter if they
Yeah.
know, like, and trust you if they don't remember you because you didn't follow up with them post closing.
Didn't keep in touch. Absolutely. Yeah. I send, and I tell my agents this too. I send birthday cards to my clients. I send happy anniversary on your house cards, as well as other things in between. But even something that simple or writing a thank you note or how are you doing? I was thinking of you. I mean, you do ninja selling. You're a big proponent of that. I think that would be a good avenue for someone starting out also to get. Do you agree?
100% go to ninjaselling.com. Sometimes there's company only installations, like when we hold it, it's just for our company, but there are general
Mhm.
ones. There's one they hold in Fort Collins, Colorado, which there's always a good reason to go to Colorado, especially if it's a ninja selling. It's actually a good thing because you usually have people that have come from all over the country, so it's a good networking, and it will teach you mindset. It will teach you systems. It is an amazing. They do have a book, Ninja Selling.
Yes.
Reading the book versus going to an installation is like going to medical school versus residency. But again, it's
Right.
good. It's good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Well, anything else that you would suggest? I mean, education is, you were talking about people going to parties or going to events, and everybody wants to
Yeah.
know what's going on. I think a key thing is to keep yourself informed as to what's going on so that, you're reading your trade magazines, you're reading, since we're in Houston, HAR puts out all kinds of statistics. And I think if you don't know what those are, you can't have an intelligent conversation, and people will know you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, obviously our metro area is so big, you can't memorize the marketing stats. But the
Right.
basics I would memorize what's our price point, what's inventory, what are interest rates, and then maybe even turn the question around on them and say, well, what part of the market are you interested in? Buying, selling, and then just kind of let them start the conversation.
I always think it's best to let them do the talking, ask the questions. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've talked about
And
education, obviously. Go out ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Someone I knew through HR met the famous Ebby Halliday, who was, the queen of Dallas and real estate independent brokerages. And they
Right.
asked her, Ebby, what is your best advice? And this is a woman that I remember the exact years. I think when she was 99, the company decided to have somebody else be their sponsoring broker. I think she passed away at like 104. So
Wow.
that's somebody I'm going to listen to. I'm going to listen to.
Yeah.
And he asked, what was the best advice? And she said, do it for the service. Don't do it for the dollar, or don't do it for the dollar. Do it for the service, and the dollar will follow.
Absolutely. And if you're only in it for the money, your client's going to figure that out real quick, I
Right.
think.
Right.
I also got to talk to Martha Turner when I actually, as you know, worked for Martha Turner
Yeah.
Sotheby's as you do now. And I got to sit down with Martha and talk to her. And I remember
Hmm.
the advice she gave was, she said, quote unquote, hit them where they ain't. Meaning, if everybody's sending a text, write a card, as an example.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
love that.
And just be authentic. People can sniff out salespeople. They don't want to be sold. They want someone they can trust and help them with a very important decision.
Yeah. So make sure you're at the right brokerage. Make sure you continue your education. Make sure you're not willing to, make sure you are willing to work hard, and make sure you're not in it just for the money. Because if you're not into it to help your client, you're not going to go very far. Is
Yeah.
that
And
a
then,
good summary, perhaps?
yeah, I guess the wrap up is, you follow that, it will happen. And I mean, you can pick people that are, you know, top producers that you can emulate them. You'll see people you have no idea how they're earning business. Learn from everybody. Learn from
Absolutely.
everybody.
Don't be afraid to
But
ask questions.
yeah, and once the success starts happening, this business, I'm gonna look at you all dead in your eyes and tell you, will eat you up if you let it.
Yeah.
You've got to maintain personal time, family time, because this business will consume every single minute if you let it.
Yes, some people go, well, I'm getting into real estate so I can set my own hours. Well, honey, you set the hours that your clients want to be seen, want to help sell a house or list a house or buy a house. You've got to go by what your client's schedule is.
Yeah, it's like a friend of mine when he was discussing with his dad, they were running a small business, or he was going to go help him out. And he said, let me tell you the difference. When you work for someone else, you work a full day. When you work for yourself, you only work a half day. He said, you just have to decide, is it the first half of the day or the second half of the day? So same
There's
concept.
some days that include both halves.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
as you know, Paul, I keep this to just about 25, 30 minutes. Good. In Houston, that's like just driving from one listing to the next.
True.
So any last words of advice before we call it a day?
Just stay positive, focus, educate yourself, and it will happen.
I agree. I agree. Well, thank you so much, Paul Silverman, for
Thank
coming
you.
on. You're so busy, and I really, really appreciate this. And if anyone was listening to this, they're going to get some good advice.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Real and Real Estate Podcast. I hope today's insights have inspired and empowered you. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the podcast with anyone who might benefit. Have questions or a topic you'd like us to explore? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep moving towards success.